took it upon myself to be efficient. We spoke for a little while longer. After the upheaval of the first few minutes, both of us were returning to type, controlled and measured. I said, "I'll book a flight for the morning. Once that's done, I'll call you back. Are you at the farm? Or the hospital?" He was at the farm. With the call finished, I rummaged through the grocery bag, taking out every item, lining them up on the pavement, until I found the cracked jar of tomato sauce, carefully removing it, the shards of glass held in place only by the label. I discarded it in a nearby bin, returning to my disassembled shopping, using tissues to mop up the excess sauce. And perhaps this seems unnecessary. Fuck the bag, my mum's sick. But the cracked jar might have broken apart completely, tomato sauce spread over everything, and anyway, there was comfort in the humdrum simplicity of the task. I picked up the bag and at a faster pace completed my journey home, to the top floor of a former factory, now a set of apartments. I stood under a cold shower and considered crying. Shouldn't I cry, I asked myself, as if it were the same as deciding whether to smoke a cigarette. Wasn't it my duty as a son? Crying should be instinctual. But before showing emotion, I pause. In the eyes of strangers, I'm guarded. In this case, it wasn't caution. It was disbelief. I couldn't attach an emotional response to a situation I didn't understand. I wouldn't cry. There were too many unanswered questions to cry. After the shower, I sat at my computer studying the emails sent by my mum over the past 5 months, wondering if there were hints that I'd missed. I hadn't seen my parents since they moved to Sweden in April. At their farewell to England party, we'd toasted their peaceful retirement. All of the guests had stood outside their old home and waved fond goodbyes. I have no brothers or sisters. There are no uncles or aunts. When I speak about family, I mean the three of us. Mum, Dad, me. A triangle, like a fragment of a constellation, 3 bright stars close together with a lot of empty space around us. The absence of relatives has never been discussed in detail. There have been hints. My parents went through difficult upbringings, estranged from their own parents, and I was sure that their vow never to argue in front of me originated from a powerful desire to provide a different kind of childhood to their own. The motivation wasn't British reserve. They never skimped on love or happiness. Those were expressed at every opportunity. If times were good, they'd celebrate. If times weren't so good, they'd be optimistic. That's why some people consider me sheltered. I've only seen the good times. The bad times were hidden. I was complicit in the arrangement. I didn't probe. That farewell party had been a good time, the crowd cheering as my mum and dad set off, embarking on a great adventure. My mum returning to the country she'd left when she was just 16 years old. Shortly after their arrival at the remote farm, located in the very south of Sweden, my mum had written regularly. The emails described how wonderful their life on the farm was, the beauty of the countryside, the warmth of the local people. If there was a hint of something wrong, it was subtle, and one I'd misconstrued. Her emails dwindled in length as the weeks went on. The lines expressing wonder grew briefer. In my mind, I'd interpreted this as positive. My mum must have settled in and didn't have a moment to spare. Her last email to me flashed up, Daniel. Nothing else, just my name, an exclamation mark. My response had been to shoot back a quick-fire reply telling her that there'd been a glitch. Her email hadn't come through, and could she please resend, dismissing her one-word email as a mistake, never considering the possibility that this email might have been fired off in distress. I worked through the entire chain of correspondence, unsettled by the notion that I'd been blind and troubled by the question of what else I might have overlooked. However, there were no telltale signs. No baffling flights of fancy. Her writing style remained regular, using mostly English, since, shamefully, I'd let slip much of the Swedish she'd taught me as a child. One email contained 2 large attachments, but no accompanying message. They were photographs. I must have looked at them before, but now my mind was blank. The first appeared on screen, a bleak barn with a rusted steel roof, a grey sky, a tractor parked outside. Zooming in on the glass of the cabin, I saw a partial reflection of the photographer, my mum, her face obscured by the flash, so that it appeared as if her head had